Okay, Algebra 1, Lesson 102, page 430. Before I start this, I'm going to review doing this right here because y'all are still routinely getting these wrong. I don't know what to tell you except follow the steps. Y'all are skipping steps somewhere, and that's why you're getting them wrong. Number one, write it down. This is graphing an inequality. That's not today's lesson yet. First thing to do is get rid of the not. So it's negative 2x plus 4. If it's not greater than or equal to, it's less than 3. First, do that. Second, get x by itself. Okay, we're going to get rid of the 4. Negative 2x, just subtract 4 from both sides, negative 1. Now we're going to divide by negative 2. When you divide by a negative, it flips that over. It doesn't pick up the equal sign again, it just flips that over. So now it's going to be x, and this is going to go this way, and this, when you divide by a negative 2, you have 1/2. Okay, you divide, and it's positive. And then you graph that, okay, whatever the domain is, you graph it. You get that, right? I hope, because y'all are getting this right here wrong, routinely. Follow the steps, write it down like it is. Get rid of the not. Then when you divide, flip it back over. If you're skipping steps and it's not working for y'all. All right? Okay, this one here is absolute value inequalities. Absolute value inequalities. Again, when you have an absolute value, okay, what is always going to come out of here? It's always going to be a positive number, all right? This is always a positive number, okay? So if you said the absolute value of x equals 4, what does x equal? Well, x could either be 4 or x could be negative 4 because either one of these works in there. If I put negative 4 in here, that's a true statement. If I put 4 in here, that's a true statement. You understand absolute value? You understand how that works? Okay, so we're going to have absolute value inequalities now. Absolute value inequalities. Let's see what we got here. La, 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 la. All right. Well, the one we just did, the absolute value of x is less than or equal to 2. 3's in the book, okay? So, what are the two things? Now, watch this. You got to think this. It's this or this in this case, right? So, x, number 1, is going to be everything that is, well, what, x could be positive 2 plus or minus 3, like that, right? But that's not the answer, you understand? Because it's not equal to. Okay, here's the deal. The absolute value of x, it's anywhere on the number line. It's anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's anywhere in here. Okay, this being 3, that being negative 3. It's anywhere in there because any number in there is going to work. Like that, okay? Negative 2, if you put negative 2 in here, that is less than 3. Positive 2 comes out as a positive. Any numbers in there will work, all right? Let's try something a little better here. Let's try this. Okay, here we go. So we have the opposite of the absolute value of x. Minus 2 is greater than negative 5. All right, now we got a couple of things going on here. You got to be careful with this. Number 1, I want to get this by itself. I want to get rid of that. Nothing else has changed. And the opposite of the absolute value of x. Add 2 to both sides. Add 2 over here, you have minus 3. Okay? Now you have, we got to get rid of this negative. Just the negative. Forget about the absolute value for a minute. I just want to get rid of the negative. I'm going to multiply both sides by -1, whatever you want to say. Absolute value of x, this flips over, and this becomes positive, 2 like that. Now you have x, so watch this. When we drop the absolute value, one of them is going to look just like this. X is less than 2. The other one is going to look just like this, but you're going to flip this over and make this the opposite. Listen to what I just said. The absolute value of x, one way to write this, okay, is x is less than 2. X is less than 2, just like it is. The other one is you drop the absolute value sign, you flip this over, and you take the opposite of that. The two things we want to graph, okay? If you look at this, I know this is really going to get you confused. You take this right here and just turn the whole thing over. You take this right here and you just turn it over. You have -2. This points towards it, and x. Now I want you to look at these two here. What you have is x is in the middle. Okay? This is the larger one. It has to go over here. This is the smaller one. It goes over here. This is x is between. Open, open, between. That's how this is graphed. Now, for the moment, what we've been doing is like this. X. I don't even know where I got that from. I'm sorry. This is a 3. This is still a 3. I don't know where I got the 2 from. That was like weird, man, dude. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This is a 3, and this is a -3. I'm sorry. I don't know what my mind was doing there. Okay? I'll do a couple more of these. We can do it in black, just for fun, okay? So here we go. We're going to have the opposite, the absolute value of x, -3 greater than or equal to, I'm sorry, not that, greater than or equal to 4. -4, like that, all right? Just for fun, let's see what happens here, okay? First thing we do is get rid of this. Negative, absolute value of x, this stays the same. Add 3 to both sides, -1. I'm going to take the negative, I'm going to divide through by a negative, multiply both sides by a negative, absolute value of x, this flips over, and it's 1. Now, the way you write this, one of these is going to be right here. And one of them is going to be x. You're going to flip this over, and this is going to be negative. For one of them, you write it just like it is. For the other one, you take the absolute value sign off, you flip that over, and you make that negative. Again, this is going to be an x is between -1 and 1. And to graph that, you do this. And they're closed circles with a line between it. Okay? So, just like before. First thing you do with this mess here is you get rid of this. Okay? And then you get rid of the negative on both sides. That flips the thing over because we're multiplying through by a negative. Now you're going to drop the absolute value sign. When you drop the absolute value sign, you're going to have two different equations, two different inequalities. One of them looks just like it was to start with. The other one, you have the x, it flips the inequality over, and it takes the opposite of what's over here. Okay? And then you graph it. Sound good?